Coming up on the Hong Kong Racing Show, trainer David Hayes joins us as our special guest ahead of Ka Ying Rising's history-equaling assignment this weekend at Sha Tin.
Look, he's a horse that physically he keeps improving and getting better. He's a lot better than he was this time last year.
And trainer Danny Shum reaches 900 Hong Kong wins as his four-time Hong Kong Cup winner Romantic Warrior prepares to take on reigning Triple Crown champion Voyage Bubble in the Group 1 Stewards Cup. It's all coming up on the Hong Kong Racing Show.
Champions do what others can't. He's the world's best sprinter, no doubt.
This is what we came to see. 16 in a row, the world's best sprinter. You thought he was good before the Everest. He climbed Everest and he's better than ever. That's the stuff nightmares are made of for other horses, trainers and jockeys. That was scary, scary good.
Well, that's got us all pumped up. Ka Ying Rising, Timeform's top-rated racehorse for 2025 and now on the verge of equaling Silent Witness's record of 17 straight wins by a Hong Kong-trained horse. Andrew Brown alongside Alex Evers for a special episode of the Hong Kong Racing Show as we gear up for an incredible Sunday at Sha Tin. Alex, a Group 1 doubleheader for the ages.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We get a rematch of Romantic Warrior and Voyage Bubble again, the first leg of the Triple Crown, and then obviously the record with Ka Ying Rising. And the card itself outside of those horses is pretty good as well. So super excited. I'm excited to get out there, excited to see what happens. And then next week, classic mile. So a couple big weeks in Hong Kong racing.
Yeah, outstanding stuff. You're on a flight tonight, landing first thing Sunday morning, then straight out to Sha Tin. You got a week in Hong Kong, so that's going to be pretty awesome. What are you looking forward to most on Sunday?
Hopefully staying dry. Forecast looks like there might be a little bit of precipitation in the air there, but overcast is good for the pictures. And I don't know. I think just hopefully we get a really good matchup between between Romantic Warrior and Voyage Bubble. I like to see both of them battle down to the wire together. And then obviously you just want to see Ka Ying Rising win and get that 17 record set, tie Silent Witness, be up there with one of the greats in all time in Hong Kong racing. And, in fact, back in the day, that's when I kind of got exposed to it. It was when TVG, back when it was called TVG, was following Silent Witness's record to 17 and kind of getting exposed to Hong Kong racing out here in North America and the United States. So we now do the same thing. We expose the audience to racing from Hong Kong, and hopefully he does it. He should be able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Really looking forward to that. And both of those clashes, really. And of course, Romantic Warriors trainer Danny Shum bringing up 900 Hong Kong wins during the week at the All Dirt meeting at Sha Tin. So congratulations to Danny. He's on a roll as we head into Sunday. And Andrea Zani, he's riding well, Alex. He had a big night at Sha Tin as well.
Yeah, putting that stint that he had at Santa Anita, riding the dirt here to good use, winning 3 out there at Sha Tin. And he's on that New Forest, I believe. I'm not looking at the results right now. New Forest, that Justify son of Mark Newnham, who's won back-to-back races there on the front end now. He's kind of nice. He's going up in the rankings. He's in Class 2 now, approaching Class 1. So running out of options on the dirt. Maybe we'll see him try somewhere like Korea or Dubai in the Godolphin Mile. But interesting horse, kind of a fun horse to watch, and he looks just like his sire.
Yeah, for sure. Well, as I mentioned in the opener, our special guest, we're very lucky to be joined by Ka Ying Rising's trainer, David Hayes. He's going to join us very shortly. I actually had to do that interview with David a little earlier solo because Alex, he had a bit of a clash, a commitment clash. He was on the Ron Flatter pod. So go and check that out over on... how do we listen to that one, Alex?
I think horseracing.nation.com. I'll post the links when I get them.
Okay. I hope you spoke about Hong Kong racing.
That's all I talked about. I talked about Zero North American racing. Just hyped up the Jockey Club and all the wonderful things they do and the big races and the good horses they have. And, it's Pegasus weekend, but all eyes should be on Sha Tin on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as I mentioned, I was lucky enough to catch up with David Hayes a little earlier, and here's that chat with him. Well, David, before we talk your sprinting superstar, how are you feeling on the eve of potentially being part of Hong Kong racing history with a record equaling 17 straight wins there for the taking?
Quite excited. I've been watching that Silent Witness 17th win And I heard David Rafal, the race caller, say, well, watch this, you'll never see this again. So it's quite incredible that we are. And I think we're in good shape to see it again.
Yeah, well, how pleased have you been with Ka Ying Rising's preparations since that phenomenal second straight Hong Kong sprint victory last month?
Look, he hasn't put a foot wrong. His trial was wonderful. Zach trialled him well. He pulled up well after the trial. And he's in a similar form that I would say going into the international. I wouldn't say better because that was probably a PB, but he'd be just as good, I think.
Right. For those in our audience, David, here in North America, who are just sort of getting to know Hong Kong racing and you, you've trained some superstars over the years. What separates Ka Ying Rising, I guess, from some of those other great horses that you've trained?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to train 100 plus Group 1 winners. And Ka Ying is by far the best. A year ago, I said he was the equal of Better Loosen Up, who was in his time the world's number one turf horse. But I think this horse is more dominant and does things more easier. And look, he's a horse that physically he keeps improving and getting better. He's a lot better than he was this time last year.
It's amazing, isn't it, to think that there's more improvement in a horse that's just already so spectacular.
Yeah, and like a lot of the greats, sometimes people are saying that he's beating nothing, but quite frankly, they're the best around. And every time there's been an international, there's been Breeders' Cup form or Royal Ascot form come to Hong Kong, and he's left them in their wake.
Yes. Speaking of Breeders' Cup form, actually, David, the connections of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint winner, a horse called Shisopicy, the connections came out last week and said they'd love to have a match race with Ka Ying Rising. And we put it to Zach last week on the show, and he said, well, let's get talking. If we can make it happen, let's make it happen. But he was sort of curious about how much money they were keen to put up.
Yeah, look, he has very valuable Hong Kong commitments. The horse he's going for his second Triple Crown, and there's a whopping bonus on top. So we'd do nothing to jeopardise that.
Mm.
But maybe when the season's for him finished, which is the international Longines race in April, there's a little window maybe for one more race. The horse is clearly very, very good, the American, and I would love to race it, but it's very hard to organise, isn't it? Where do you do it? How much? There's a lot of ifs and buts. And if there wasn't a race called the Everest, which is the richest turf race in the world, which is defending the title, I wouldn't do much to jeopardise that. So it wouldn't be running scared, but the conditions would have to be very, very favourable at the end of our season.
I actually made the suggestion that maybe that's a great place for Shisopicy to go, the Everest, if she can get a slot and get it all organised. I'm sure Peter Volandis would try and accommodate it if he could, and maybe you guys could meet on neutral territory in Australia.
Yeah, look, wouldn't that be exciting for the race? And, I'm sure if they want a side bet, we'll have one in Australia.
I love it. Speaking of having Zach on the show last week, he mentioned that there's a few holes in your safari suit.
No, there's not, but I don't think they're far off, but I'm not changing it. So it's a beige, not a safari, actually. It's a beige suit, but it proves under a lot of pressure. My wife, she has to have it ready to go for the big days, and it's worked 16 times in a row, and I won't be changing it. No matter, it's pretty cold here, but I'm still wearing a summer suit this weekend.
That's fantastic. All right, big question. If Ka Ying Rising is to equal Silent Witness's record this weekend, where does that place him in terms of not just the greats of Hong Kong racing, but all-time great horses from around the world over the years?
Look, he's starting to, I think he's probably got to keep going for another 6 months at this level, and maybe at the Everest next year if he stays undefeated. He's definitely the highest rated horse to run in Hong Kong. The ratings don't lie. He's a point off the Great Black Caviar, who's one of my all-time favourites. And he's right up there, isn't he? So, people laughed at me a year ago when I said he's the best horse I've trained, but I think they're starting to come on board now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, David, thank you so much for your time. There will be a lot of 3 a.m. alarms across the eastern states of North America on Saturday night, Sunday morning, and midnight. People staying up until midnight, I think, on the West Coast. It certainly captured the imagination of a lot of North American horse players over here, and we're really excited. Good luck.
And tell them it's not that far from California to get to Australia for the Everest. So, and they can really have a bet as much as they want.
All right. I'll pass the message on, David. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Always great to chat with David Hayes. Sounds like he's pretty up for a Ka Ying Rising versus Shisopicy match race or meet at the Everest, Alex.
I like the Everest better. A match race, I don't think there'd be much of a race there. I don't think it'd be much of a race in the Everest. I would be in Ka Ying Rising's camp heavily. In fact, if I could get a market on that brownie anywhere right now, maybe get a bet from the owners of Shisopicy, I'd take that in a second because I don't think that horse has an absolute no chance of touching Ka Ying Rising. The closest that horse would get to Ka Ying Rising is in the parade ring walking behind him.
Well, it sounds like the Ka Ying Rising camp's pretty keen for a side bet with the Shisopicy camp as well. So we will follow that with interest and see how things progress over the next couple of weeks with Shisopicy making her return on the Saudi Cup undercard in a couple of weeks' time, and then facing Fast Network and Lucky Swain S, perhaps in the Alquoz in March. So that'll be interesting stuff. All right. Well, time now to take a look at the 2 Group 1s at Sha Tin this weekend in a little bit more detail. We'll start with the Group 1 Centenary Sprint Cup, where Ka Ying Rising will look for 17 straight wins. The world's best sprinter will start from post position 4. He'll also start at very short odds. We might be lucky to get 1.1. I don't even know if we'll get that. Helios Express, 5th behind Ka Ying in last month's Hong Kong Sprint, has been trialling well. Fast Network has been 2nd and 3rd respectively behind Ka Ying at his last couple, draws well in post 2. Raging Blizzard, runner-up behind Ka Ying Rising in last month's Hong Kong Sprint. The other John Size trainee in the race. David Hayes also has another runner in the race, Tomodachi Kokoro. Speedmap has Ka Ying Rising in front of Fast Network and Beauty Waves. Helios Express out the back. Alex, guessing you have Ka Ying Rising on top here. You might surprise me. Who knows? But let's talk trifectas. Who you got?
No, there's no getting cute here. It's Ka Ying Rising on top of Fast Network and Helios Express. And I think those two will be close in a photo for 2nd and 3rd. And last night when I couldn't sleep, I went through and watched all of Ka Ying Rising's last 16 wins, kind of see where he'd be on the track and how he runs his races. And not that I haven't watched them all, but just for a refresher. And that's an absolutely incredible horse. And hopefully he's in the right spot for the pictures, unlike HKIR. But really, really excited to see him go out there and do his thing. And it's impressive just watching him on video. Seeing him in person is like another step up, and it's been a pleasure to actually get to see him run as many times as I have. So hopefully he does it again, but that's my picks. What about you, Brownie?
Yeah, so I'm Ka Ying Rising again for obvious reasons. Fast Network, I think I'm going to put in for 2nd. Well, I'm going to put in for 2nd. From post 2, I just think J-Mac can sit right behind and get that nice suck run. Ka Ying Rising is eventually going to kick clear, of course, but I think maybe Fast Network can head the rest for 2nd. And Helios Express probably a little disappointing in the sprint on IR day, but he'll get back. He'll be coming home strong. I think he can do better to fill the trifecta. So where are you going to set up your remotes for Ka Ying Rising then, Alex?
I mean, he's run kind of in all sorts of different spots on the track too, which is just kind of tricky. So I've got everything kind of set up for that. I got some on the rail. I'll have some in the middle and I'll have some out wide, and hopefully he runs in the good spot. And Zach's smiling. I was actually a couple races ago, I think it was the grade 2 where he's petting him on the neck on the inside hand with his right hand. So that'd be kind of nice in the pictures. I should have messaged him and told him to point down at the camera when he goes by and just kind of do something like that. But I'll never ask a guy to do anything on the racetrack. Keep it authentic.
Nice one. All right. Time to look at the 2nd Group 1 on the card at Sha Tin. The Stewards Cup featuring reigning Triple Crown champion Voyage Bubble up against Hong Kong's global superstar Romantic Warrior, the 4-time Hong Kong Cup winner. But they're not the only two with a chance. For Romantic Warrior, this is the first time he'll run over the mile distance since the Yasuda Keenan in Japan in 2024. He is 2 for 2 when he's met Voyage Bubble, but Voyage Bubble is coming off that remarkable win over Soul Rush in last month's Group 1 Hong Kong Mile under a superb ride from Zach Purton, who sticks with the Triple Crown champ. So this is just going to be one hell of a matchup between those two. But others in the race, Lucky Swainess, contesting a mile for the first time in his career. An interesting prep for him that will include the Alquoz over the sprint distance in Dubai in a couple of months. Redline did defeat Voyage Bubble in the Champions Mile last year. Hugh Bowman rides. Galaxy Patch is a Group 2 winner over the track and distance. And My Wish has another chance at Group 1 glory. Not disgraced when 6 in last month's Hong Kong Mile. Draws nicely in 2. The speed map actually has My Wish getting a nice run behind Red Line. Voyage Bubble outside My Wish. Romantic Warrior on Voyage Bubble's back. Alex, this is an intriguing race. Which way are you going to go?
It's interesting because there's not really that much pace in the race other than Red Lion, and My Wish will go forward, but Lucky Sweetness coming out of sprint races, he tends to break a little slow and settle near the rear of the pack. So I don't know how much how likely he'll be to be on the front end, but I'd imagine that Voyage Bubble sits, third off those horses and Romantic Warrior tracks him, and he's got a better turn of foot and he's a little bit tougher at the mile to get over the top of Voyage Bubble. So I'm going to go with Romantic Warrior over Voyage Bubble. And then I know, despite me saying that there's no pace in the race, I'm going to try to catch a price and look for Sunlight Power in third there just to kind of spice things up a bit. But he's going to be up against it if they kind of walk early.
Yeah, and that's the way to try and, I guess, inject some value into the trifecta if you're playing. I think most people are going to have on their ticket Romantic Warrior, Voyage Bubble first and second in either order. I suppose there will be a few tipping Voyage Bubble over Romantic Warrior. I'm not. I'm sticking with Romantic Warrior. As Zach Purton said to us on the show last week, he is the better horse. Purton's just got to work out a way to try and beat him. But the way the posts are drawn, it looks like Romantic Warrior is just going to get a nice run on Voyage Bubble's back and be able to make the last run of him. So I think Romantic Warrior wins this for me over Voyage Bubble. And not that this trifecta is going to pay much, but I think My Wish can rebound and have another good run as well for third. So that's my trifecta: Romantic Warrior, Voyage Bubble, My Wish. Any other horses you're interested in playing on Sunday, Alex? Because there's another couple of really good races, and I'm quite keen on Dazzling Fit in the nightcap. Anything else of interest?
Yeah, I like Dazzling Fit, and I'm on this horse every single time he runs, it looks like. But I'm excited to see what Invincible Shield does with the competition kind of off from what he's been at. Even though it's the same class, it's just looks like an easier bit of field. Meets Patch of Stars again, who he was a nose behind a few runs back and gets back to the 1,200 meters, which he's more suited to. 14's just a step outside of his comfort zone. And interesting to see Packing Angel come back, a Derby prospect from last year, return to the races after a little bit of an injury. So that race 9, it's going to kind of an interesting, good race. I'd probably go with Invincible Shield, Patch of Stars, and Packing Angel and see what happens there. It'll be interesting to see what the track profile is on Sunday.
Yes, 100%. You'll be able to see that bright and early on Sunday morning. So maybe you can tweet out what you think of the track profile.
No.
Nice and early for us.
Stick my monopod on the ground and tell them how yielding it is.
There you go. Any other closing thoughts before we wrap things up?
No, that last race is interesting too with Lavero and Dazzling Fit and Chill Easy. I'll be watching that race, but I'll be leaving the cameras out all day because I think there are some nice races later in the card after the grade ones. But it's an exciting day of racing. 11 from Sha Tin. Can't wait to get out there.
It's going to be awesome. We can't wait to watch here in the United States. I think it's 11 p.m. Pacific for Ka Ying Rising. It's 2 a.m. Eastern, and then an hour later, Romantic Warriors race, so 3 a.m. Eastern and midnight Pacific. It's going to be a fantastic night of racing from Sha Tin, Saturday night North American time. Alex, as always, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy your trip to Honkers. We'll link up with you next week when you're in Hong Kong for next week's show.
Yeah, maybe from the racetrack in the morning, Thursday morning or something like that, or Friday morning, or I don't know. I'll be time traveling, Brownie. I don't know what day it is, if it is now, so we'll sort it out next week.
We'll work it out then, and we will recap what's going to be a great night of racing at Sha Tin, and then look forward to the Classic Mile as well next weekend, because we've got another big week of racing next weekend at Sha Tin. But until then, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the Hong Kong Racing Show.